What's up guys? Today I'm going to go over the best iPhone settings that you need to use when filming your next real estate home video tour. Now in this video, it's going to be super simple and I'm going to be teaching you the exact settings to use on your iPhone to film videos just like these. Now this style of video has the potential to go absolutely viral, and it also get you some leads and help you sell more houses. And this style was actually coined by my good friend Tyler Hassman, who is from Calgary, Alberta. Now this guy is an absolute beast when it comes to filming real estate content, and he's been known to post a video a day using this exact style, which also means that not only can this video go viral, but it also shouldn't take you that long to film and, have a quick turnaround time so you can consistently post these videos and continue to grow your audience. And he does these videos with something as simple as an iPhone and a gimbal. That's literally it. It can be very simple, and these simple tools can get you some crazy results. So shout out to Tyler, and hopefully I can have him on this channel soon to share how he films his home tours in the very near future. So stay tuned. Now these settings are also going to be helpful if you're planning on filming long form content, anything that's going on YouTube, for example. If you're going to be filming your content horizontally, for example, Ty Gibson, who's on my team, who just started doing these walkthrough type tours, is using the exact same settings. And honestly, his videos look pretty good, and I don't even think he's had anybody comment that, you're only using an iPhone. iPhones are getting so good now that with the right settings that I'm about to show you, they're almost passing for a traditional video camera like, well, I don't have one here, but actually the camera that I'm filming on right now. And the one that I film on costs literally $5,000. So just the fact that you can use something as simple as an iPhone that you probably have already and produce high quality videos that can actually go viral is pretty insane. So in this video, I'm not actually going to show you how to film these videos just yet. We're just going to be going over the settings, and in future videos, I'll go over how you can actually film and edit these videos. So these settings that I'm going to show you is what I use 99% of the time, whether I'm taking a video for Instagram stories or a video for an Instagram reel, or even sometimes, horizontal videos just for YouTube as well. Now let's jump into the actual settings that I use and that creators like Tyler use to create home tour videos. So the first thing you want to do is go to your iPhone, obviously, and we're just going to open up the camera app. Now it's just the basic camera app that actually comes with your iPhone. And what's important to know is that you're going to want to have an iPhone that has, some of these lenses on here. You don't need the one that has, is it going to focus? I don't know. You can see that there's 3 different lenses right here. You don't need the iPhone Max. All you need is the one that has the 0.5 zoom. So you can zoom out and look really wide so you can see what I'm looking at here. Now there are a couple different options within the iPhone app that you can use, like cinematic mode, for example. And there's slow-mo, there's time-lapse, there's a whole bunch of other different modes. But for the type of video that I'm talking about here, we're not going to be using any of these other types or any of these settings. We're just going to be using just the video section right here. And the lens that you want to use all the time is going to be that 0.5 or 0.5x zoom. So what this does is it makes it really wide so you can see the entire house. And you can see right here, if I just point this at the camera on the 1x, you'll notice that, it's really cropped in and you don't get to see the entire house or the entire space or whatever you're filming. And when you go back to 0.5, then right there, you can see how much more of the room you can see, just like this. So this is important because when you're actually inside a house, you want to make it feel like the person watching it is actually in that house with you. And the best way to do that is to get as much of a big wide field of view as possible. And that's only going to be possible with the widest lens. So honestly, I never use the 1, the 2, the 5x zoom. I'm always using that 0.5x zoom. Now, the second setting that you're going to need to go and change is up in the top right corner. You'll see where it probably says 4K 60 or 4K 30. Maybe yours says HD 20, 30, who knows? And all you have to do is go up to that top right, and you can actually change these settings just by clicking on it. So you can see here, as I click on 4K, it'll go between 4K and HD. So I just want to make sure that's in 4K because that's the highest resolution. Right next to that, you'll see a number. Now this number could say 30, could say 24, could say 60 on your phone. And you just want to tap through until it says 4K 60. You'll see on my phone right now, as I tap through, there's the option for 24, there's an option for 30, and there's an option for 60. Now, if you're tapping through and you don't see these settings already on your iPhone, what you can do is go back and go to your settings. Then once you go to your settings, you can scroll down and go to camera. Then once you go to camera, you'll see video record or record video right at the top. So you can click that, and if it's not already on 4K 60, you can just go in here and click 4K 60 so that you have it. The other setting that you're going to want to change is enhanced stabilization. You're going to want to set that on because that's going to make your footage even smoother. Even if you're on a gimbal, this will already make your camera even smoother. It's very important to have this on. I also have HDR video on as well, high efficiency. So that's just going to make sure that when you're filming inside and out, you know, your sky is always going to be exposed and it's going to give you the best image. So just make sure you have that on as well. Everything else you can leave off. You can just leave these settings just as I have them here. And then the next setting that we're going to go and look at is down below in composition. These are optional. You don't have to add them. These are just what I do. So first, I do have the grid on and I do have the level on. Now I'll show you what I mean by that. So when I go back to my camera here, you can see how you can see these little lines and this little grid on here. This is just so when I'm filming, I can make sure that, you know, I can get everything nice and lined up properly. And again, you don't really need this, but it's something that I use quite often. Now the other setting is the level that I have on. You can see the level right here. So when I'm on my camera and I tilt it a little bit, you can see that the level is kind of off. And then when I have it nice and level, it'll give you that yellow line and it'll disappear. Now the reason why this is important is because you want to make your videos look as professional as possible, even though we're just filming on your iPhone. So by having this level on, you can always know that, you know, your camera's square and level and it's ready to go. A couple other tips that I want you to keep in mind. Now this might sound a little bit, you know, elementary, a little bit basic for some of you, but a lot of people don't know this. And that's to never film on this back camera that's facing you. The reason why is because honestly, it just doesn't look as good. These are much higher quality cameras than the one that's on this. So when you're filming selfie, you want to actually turn around and film it like this, and it's going to look just a lot better. So just make sure that you always turn the camera towards you when you're actually filming. I know you can't see yourself, but after a while you'll be able to just square it up and you'll know that it's pointing right at your face. Might take you a couple extra takes, but honestly, it's gonna be worth it. The second thing to keep in mind is when you're filming and you have these settings dialed in, no matter how perfect you have these settings dialed in, your footage off your phone is gonna look horrible unless you clean this lens. So before you start anything, just take a look, make sure that there's no fingerprints or anything on it, and just get a piece of cotton or your shirt and make sure you clean off your fingerprints, because that's gonna give you a nice, crisp and clean image every single time. Now let me just explain why we're using 4K 60 as our base settings for just about everything. So 4K 60 is a little bit controversial here because in the filmmaking world, most of the time they use 4K 24. And the reason why they use 4K 24 in a movie or something cinematic is because you get a correct motion blur. Now, when I'm filming on this camera right here, right now, I am filming in 4K 24 so that, you know, it looks kind of as good as possible. However, the 4K 60 that we're gonna be using is gonna look a lot smoother, especially on social media. And it also gives you the ability to slow it down or speed it up the clip later when you're editing. So just trust me on this, 4K 60 is what you should be using on your iPhone. It'll just give you the most flexibility and the highest quality image. So that's why we're using those settings when it comes to the camera. But your audio isn't gonna sound great just coming right out of this camera. So let's get into that in just 1 second, but I just wanna add some more context here. So when I first started getting into filming, I really went deep and tried to make the content as most high quality as possible, especially for social media. However, after meeting somebody like Tyler and saw his success, he kind of opened my eyes to that, you know, you don't have to have a big camera setup. You can just leave your phone on those auto settings after you set up those things initially, and you can get some really fantastic results. Now, these iPhones are powerful, and there's even an option to go Apple log or some sort of log footage, which is going to get more complicated. And it does some things like sucks all the saturation and contrast out of your image, and then later you can go back and you can, you know, really tweak the colors and just get them perfect. And there's also that cinematic mode that we were talking about before, and that's going to give you a blurry background when you take a photo or you're taking video of something specific. But honestly, again, for these types of videos, just forget all that and keep it simple. Just put it on 4K 60 on that 0.5 wide lens, and 99% of the time, that's gonna increase the quality of your video right off the bat. Okay, so now that we have the camera settings dialed in on our iPhone, for at least the video side, it's gonna look amazing. However, there's no setting on this camera that's gonna make your audio sound fantastic, unfortunately. It's gonna sound okay, and it is usable, but it's not gonna sound professional. So what you're gonna have to do here is unfortunately spend a little bit of money and fork out some money to buy a new mic. Now the mic that I use is actually the DJI Mic 2. Now there is a new version of this, which is the DJI Mic Mini. However, this is like the highest quality mic that you can get that's also kind of budget friendly. It is a little bit expensive. There are some other options on Amazon that are a little bit cheaper that you could get away with. But for me, this is the highest quality mic that you can get, whether you go with this one or the DJI Mic Mini. And there's actually something scientific behind using high quality audio. And they've done some studies in the past where they filled up a theater of people and they put them in the theater and they put a movie on. In this movie, they had two versions of the movie. So one of them had, really crisp, good looking visuals, but a horrible audio. And the other video had kind of shaky footage and, not the worst, or not the best viewing experience. And in that group, they put really crisp audio. So the difference was, good video, bad audio, and really good audio, but not great visuals. And what was interesting is that the people that were watching with bad audio actually stood up and left the theater, and the people that had, okay visuals but really crisp audio actually stayed in the theater longer. And that tells you that audio is obviously just as important, if not more important, than the actual video. So again, it's really important to have really crisp audio. And the awesome thing about this little mic here is that there's this little receiver and there's a little attachment that goes right into your iPhone. So you just stick it in something like this. And then when you have it on your tripod, this just sits in here kind of just like this. And you take the mic and you can just clip it to your shirt, something like this. Very simple, very easy. The point of all of these settings and this video is I want to make things as easy and as simple as possible, and it doesn't get much easier than something like this. Now there are some other budget options out there on Amazon, and I'll link a few of them down below, and maybe I'll do some reviews in the future about these mics and the pros and cons of each one. So if you are on a budget, you can get away with some other options, even if you use a budget option from Amazon versus just your plain old iPhone. Those other budget options are going to be better than just the mic coming out of the iPhone, so I do highly recommend it. But if you do want to go with the highest quality route, again, I'm using the DJI mic, and I'll leave a link down in the description below. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope I gave you exactly what you need to do to get started, to pick up your iPhone and produce some high quality videos. And I promise if you use these iPhone settings, your footage is going to level up instantly. If you guys have any other questions about these settings, please leave them in the comments below and I'll be sure to get back to you, or maybe I'll even do a follow-up video. And if you guys want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in the next video.